Now, final question.
Okay.
If you were setting up, if for whatever reason you had to set up a completely new team from scratch, you might be starting up another business or whatever.
Yeah.
What kind of team what kind of sales team would you look for now, considering all things have changed recently?
Well, the good news is, I don't think there's a new trait out there or a new person that's suddenly miraculously going to appear and be different.
Post-COVID salesperson, put it on the job title.
I love this question where people start to think about what are the key traits of great salespeople and this sort of thing. And across the years, in doesn't matter what industry I've been in, what sort of sales group I've been in, the people that I've seen have got one particular trait that really stands out for me. And I know there's many, whether they're disciplined or hunger or enthusiastic or all these great things. The one that's really stood out for me is curiosity. And they do stand out as individuals. It's interesting. I've done so many training courses and, I've been in these sort of groups where the graduates have gone through their training, and there's always somebody stands out where they'll ask a question and you answer it, and then you go to move on to something and they ask another one, and then they ask another one. And throughout, there's a bit of a thing that sort of plays right through the day with these people. They keep asking, and I have to say they really stand out, and it reflects in their performance. So I think curiosity for me, and I look for that in any interviews, and there are people that are going to come out of this and they're going to be looking for new jobs because they've either been laid off from the company they're with, made redundant, whatever, or they're going to have to sort of pick themselves up, brush themselves off and come back to the market. And it affects your confidence, and your self-esteem and all the rest of it. And it's all well and good saying, well, salespeople are always positive and salespeople are always, go-getters and can-do type people and all those great things. But there are going to be people that are going to be coming in a little jaded from the experience. And I think that the more curious they can be at their interview, do your research. If you're going to go for an interview, don't just turn up and, I don't think anybody does that these days. I hope not. But do your research on the company. Find out who the key people are. Find out how the business is performing. Find out something about it. Make some calls into the industry. What do they think of that company? How are they, find something out that you didn't know about them, in the morning that you do in the afternoon, and bring it to the interview and get curious.
But you wouldn't necessarily change your sales model then. You wouldn't
no.
say, right now, because we're in this situation of safe distancing and that kind of thing. Because I've heard some companies kind of say, well, we might need a different type of salesperson now because it looks like the market's kind of moving forward in terms of we might need to do a lot more like webinar or Zoom kind of meetings rather than face-to-face, and that they might feel that perhaps the type of salesperson that they might have at the moment or that they might have recruited previously might not actually get on with that kind of communication.
For me, that's a training thing. I haven't met any salesperson that can't warm up with the training, and this is all new for us. And look how quickly people have adapted. And I've seen it with my own children. They go on these sort of quizzes at the weekend. They're in fancy dress. There's about 20 people on the screen, having a great time. And there's lots of different ways that, and my children aren't the sort to rush to want to go on the camera and all the rest of it. But these barriers get breaking down quite quickly when, we all use them. I'm not overly comfortable on the screen either, but, you just have to adapt. And it's great because there's lots of tools out there and new things we can learn about how you can share slides, for example, when you're doing presentations on using the screen. And at the beginning, we won't be able to go and handshake and go and get our meeting straight away. So we need to adapt. But that's a training thing. And I think there'll be lots of companies coming forward with, doing sort of live demos of how to use different types of technology. There's lots out there to be able to, meet with customers online and be professional.
You could argue that those types of people that refuse or resist adapting and training are probably going to be the types of people that are going to be unadaptable generally, really. So they may not be the best long-term fit for a business.
Yeah, it depends what people's drivers are. We're all different in terms of what drives us, and I've met so many people that even in adverse times, are always looking to pick themselves up and get stuck, straight back in. They will adapt. There's no doubt. Those people will adapt. There are clearly people that sort of, whatever will be and drift. And unfortunately, if you are a drifter, you could get left by the wayside, because the nature of the selection, I think, will tighten. As you say, if you're doing an interview, for example, and I noticed I've got the window there and it's not great for the backdrop, but when I started it was fine. I noticed the lights kicked in. I think it's getting used to where your camera should be. If I get it and it's stuck straight out the window and I'm sat there and you can't see me, or so just some sensible guidance around what you set up, and probably, joking aside, the amount of times we've all seen the ad where somebody's sat on the screen and then they get up and they go and answer the door and there's no bottom half on or something, or they're in their their pants or something. It's just sensible. If you were going for an interview, you'd put a shirt and tie on. Why wouldn't you put a shirt and tie on for an interview online? You can show your slides. If you do a presentation, you can refer to it. There's lots of ways to be professional online. And
I think you look very freshly groomed with your hair nicely cut, and there's a reason for that, isn't there?
I am very lucky. Yeah, I'm very lucky. My wife's a hairdresser, so
yeah.
I'm one of the fortunate ones. Yeah,
you are. Yes, yeah, very good.